Morning, everyone. This fine Woman's Day. Morning, Sharon. Bit cloudy actually where I am. Just going to start in a couple of minutes. Elias, I'm not sure you've been here the training before. If you haven't, it's quite simple. It's more of a forum where we discuss trade ideas. We all interact. Yeah, so if you want to verbalize anything, you can obviously just unmute and go for it, or put on the chat line like the other guys have done. Keep a pen and paper handy, just in case you think of a question, and as a reminder, and then you can always ask it, and here to hopefully clarify and improve our trading skills on the practical basis. Okay, I'm just going to swap over now to the charts. Hope you can see them all right. If you can't, well, please tell me. Just give it a moment or two and then start at 12:30. Okay, that's 12:30, and then we can start. Don't quite know I've got gold up because, like I said before, rather leave it alone. I think I'm just going to start off with going through a couple of trades we've already got out, just as a reminder what they are. Just have a recap on them. Just a second. Yeah, NZD CAD. I think some guys might be out of that now, modified stop loss, and hopefully stopped out with a profit. Shouldn't be a loss on that one. If you made a loss on it, something's wrong clearly. Where are we? NZD CAD, yeah. Okay, with it sells at 81.55, it's back up to square one again. But over the last couple of days, when did it come out? It came on the 7th. That's the 9th, 8th, 7th. So it did come down to around about those levels. And some guys might have modified. I don't know if they made any money or still in or whatever. But it's about break even at the moment. Every time it pops up, it comes down. So if those guys have been stopped out and want to take the trade again, I don't see why you shouldn't. Back up to the signal of a couple of days ago, and you can use the same signal entry point. You can see the risk on the signal, stop loss TP if you want to do it again. Okay, so it's a bit slow, but at least it's not losing. That's the main thing. Right, what else? Go dollar yen. That's doing pretty well. Just let these guys in. Yeah, dollar yen's doing pretty well. It's up about 100 pips or so. I'm assuming you've all put your stop loss up to protect. Some might have been stopped out in the profit. If you have, don't enter again. The single entry, stick with it. 142.20. Don't enter again if you're still in. Please modify your stop so you can protect profits. Maybe to 142.90, something like that. And if you're still in and you had your modified stop, that's great, but don't rejoin it, but not too bad. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All right. So just let these guys in. Where are we? Okay, yeah, and the next one, EURCHF. Morning, morning, morning. EURCHF. Okay, EURCHF 96.23. That's about 30, just over 30 pips there, 30 to 35 pips in profit. So that's fine. Yeah, I think you can modify on this one now if you like. Product to entry if you got in at where are we on this one? 96.23 or higher. If you got in that figure there or higher, you can modify your stop to 96.23. If you got in around 96.10, you're chasing a bit, but so be it. It's still in a profit. Be a little bit careful of getting it to below 96.20, put it that way. You want to keep a bit of a gap in case we get some more downside, which if you can break that 10-day moving average, we should get some nice downside to there. So we want to be on board for that. So that's not too bad. I was joined a little bit late. Don't worry about it. We're just going through the previous trades. You probably know that anyway, because if you got them, you got them. Okay, CAD JPY gave us a bit of jip. A lot of people a bit worried. But it turned out that it's sort of trying to come to the party. It's a buy at 63. It's not a lot, but at least it's in profit now. Better than being in a negative, which it was. A few people did WhatsApp me, getting a bit worried about it, and I said I hoped it's going to hold around about this level here. You see the green and the red candle there, and it did just that. It bounced, and our stop was down here somewhere. Remember, where was the stop? Just show my. Yeah, the stop was just below it. And so it flirted with it, but this a bit of support there held, and it bounced up. It's now got some positive technical damage, if damage is right, correct terminology, because it's now above the 50, and it opened above the 50. So keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully, it'll start to come to the party. But anyway, all the four we've had out in the last couple of days are now in profit, so that's not too bad. Is there any else you're in? You want to have a mention of it or discuss it, or if you want to move stop loss, you're not sure where to, just let me know, and I'll furnish what I hope is a reasonable answer. Okay, I hope we're all good with that. Any questions so far? Anything you want to go through, go over? Anyone to mention the trades we got open at the moment? Recap on it. You might have missed it or something like that. It's a nice holiday, Women's Day holiday. So in celebration to ladies, you come first today. Mind you always come first, so what's different? I just see a whole sea of guys on there. Of course, the women are out having a nice day. The men are back to the graph like we are in the trading room. But on a serious note, anything you want to discuss that I just mentioned? Anything on any open trades you've got? You just want to get some reassurance, maybe, if nothing else, and want to mention. But on the positive note, the four we got out last couple of days have been pretty good.
Morning, Roger.
Morning.
With regards to the CPI that slightly improved in China, what's the chances of upside to crude?
Very good point. Very good point. Didn't think that way. I thought it might be upside to Aussie dollar or something. I don't know. But I didn't think of it that way. Very good point. Just want to elaborate for everyone else there what finally means that China's the biggest importer of oil in the world. It imports astronomical. I think it's about 10, don't quote me on this, but it's about 10 million barrels a day. I'm not sure that's true or not, but it is a large amount. And so when they start growing, they need more oil. So as he quite rightly says, it will affect the oil price and vice versa. So a very excellent point you put out. Could well be. In fact, I think it's already occurred. Let's go to Brent and put it on the 4-hour chart. You see, this is only a 4-hour, it's not a daily chart, guys. Look, it was right down here yesterday. I think it was yesterday, 83. We've had a bit of a surge. So, yeah, it looks like you might be right there. Having said that, that's all great to know, but how can we commercially take advantage of it? I fear not really, no. As I said, most people are out of it now. I don't think anyone in the trading room is still in the oil. You should all be out of it now. Well, not should be, but I think you are all out of it now. And if you are, I would not be chasing it. I certainly wouldn't be selling it, but I think it's too high to chase at this stage. So that's just nice to know. Academic interest going forward. But I say from a commercial aspect of a trade, I wouldn't be doing it. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. I say that. Doesn't mean to say I'm right. You have an absolute right to disagree and think it's a good sell or a good buy or whatever at this level. If you do feel that way, I'd love to hear from you and discuss it together. This is a trade. We discuss it together. If nothing else, get moral support. It's not fun to be the only one who wants to buy or sell it. It's nice to know that several people are joining you.
Sorry, Roger. I see on the economic calendar as well at +4 today, there's indication that crude oil inventories on Farney's Point that will go up today from negative 17 million and up.
Could
Will
be.
that have an effect?
Yeah. But that's a good question as well. That comes out every Wednesday, right? So that comes out every Wednesday, basically. A little bit. It's not an unusual one. In other words, you have the weekly jobless claims in the US on Thursday at 2:30, and around about the 4:30 mark on the Wednesday is the weekly American inventories. Okay, US oil inventories. Okay, it does have some. Often it's a bit delayed when it comes out. The reaction to it, surprisingly, because normally when data release comes out, you see a immediate reaction to the price. I find often it's a bit delayed in the reaction. I think it's a small player, but not enough to make full use of. Is what I'm saying. Certainly not a straddle trade, but overall has a bit of an effect. I don't see anything there at the moment that worth chasing it. If you're in, great. If you're on the long on it, certainly don't shorting it now. If we do get a pullback, I mentioned I write over the weekend, just what I call a weekly snipper analysis, which is posted Monday morning on the VIP group. And I did mention that if it does pull back round about to the 82.50 mark, we can look to buy it again. I'm not shorting this one. And even, don't try and short the pullback, just have to wait for the pullback. And maybe we can get along on it. But otherwise it's stand aside. Okay. So probably a bit of a long-winded explanation, but I hope you got the picture. Okay. But yeah, they count. That's why it's released. But I wouldn't, unless it's radically different, not so much. Remember, it's an American oil release. The bigger producers in other areas of the world, got Norway, Nigeria, Venezuela, as well as, of course, Saudi Arabia and Russia. I think what's the other one in South Africa? Is it where's the one? Not Angola. Where is it? Angola somewhere as well. But yeah, they're not the only ones that are producing oil. Put it that way. Canada, of course, I forget Canada. So it's there, but it's not a big deal. Right, it's a reasonable deal. Put it that way. Okay, right. We'll move on from oil. I hope that answered your question. If it didn't, we can come back and discuss it further. But a good point about China. Remember that, guys. China economy does affect the oil price. Very, very good point. Thank you for that. Okay, NZD, JPY, then we'll do the Canadian. I think I got that written down. Yeah, I've got that written down. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 trades to have a look at. And this is one of them. What do you want to look at? I mean, is it good to close it as a buy? Yeah, if you're in a bit of a profit, I'd be a bit nervous of it. It was a buy. You're quite right. And remember, I said when it took out the 50-day, we called the trade technical damage, and I think there could be now some downside, to be honest. Now I say because it's a trade to sell. And then you immediately close it and sell it and it goes up. You're not going to be very happy with me. So I'm afraid, duck that question. Whether you should close or not, I'll leave that in your capable hands. Okay, what you want to do with it. But I'm afraid to say I'm leaning to downside now. Okay, Edwin. I think this is a possibility of downside. Certainly won't be sending it out. Probably because most people are on holiday today anyway, so much choice in the matter. But to sell it out when it hadn't reached TP and a lot of guys were in it on the long will confuse a lot of the guys out there. Hopefully the trading guys, because we can openly discuss it, will understand why. Most of those guys don't. They think, what's going on here? But I'm leaning, to be honest, to the downside now. I've mentioned that a couple of days ago, and I'm sticking with that policy. I'm not sure we're going to see this popping up and taking that out. And it hasn't the last few days. I think this is a rally to sell. Okay. Any comments? I'll tell you what you can do, Edwin. I know it's a hell of a close. It's only about 10 pips away, but you can maybe move it up to maybe 87.04 or 87 or something. It's a hell of a close, but at least you won't. It's damage limitation if you get stopped out, and and I'm wrong and it continues up, at least you're on board. How about that for a good idea, eh? So maybe look at it on that basis, but otherwise it's up to you. Okay. Right. Morning. NZ. Dante wants to look at NZD Canadian. Now, I think what I'm going to do here, Dante, and people out there, I'm going to start going back to these ideas where we discuss trades before I mention it myself. Okay, just to see what people are learning, what they can take out of it, so that in other words, they're learning to fish themselves, if you know what I'm saying. That's been mentioned. Looking for NZD CAD. Going will be on sell on okay, you're on the NZD CADs a sell. Okay, since Wednesday. Right. Okay, right, Herman. Let's see what other guys think. Do you think the person, if he's on a sell, should hold? Do you think he should close it? Do you think it's a buy? What advice do you think you would give from what you've learned in the practical area of the trading room? I agree with that, Gerard. Yeah, very much so. But I think the NZD is weaker at the moment. Okay, so what do you think Herman should do? He's in a sell on this one? Should he hold? Should he close it? Or what do you think of this one here? I know what I think, but I just want to see what you guys think.
But I think myself as well, we in the sell since Monday, 25 to 10. So it was one of the trading room's idea on Monday.
Okay. What price did you guys get in? I can't remember. I might have it down here if it's Monday. It should have it down here. NZD CAD. Give me a moment.
81.63, Rog.
81.63 saved me time. Right, it's quite okay, it's back to square one. Okay, right. Gerard says a hold. Anybody think they should exit or buy it if they're not in? What do you think? Yeah, okay. I agree. Gerard Petra, I agree. I agree. Rich Chapili and Mike, I agree. It's a little bit of technical damage on the 4 hour, but look at the daily. The daily is holding below there. I think this is just noise, and I think it's going to come off. I'm back in the Canadian. As you mentioned about China oil price has gone up a bit. I think that's just a bit of a noise rally. I think there's quite a bit of support there. Or resistance if you're going to go long, support if you're looking short. I think it's going to come back a bit. So I actually think it's not a bad idea to join it. If you're not on board, join it. If you are on board, hold. That's exactly what I think. I think you can do, actually, to be honest. Yeah, I do actually. Just got to get your name pronounced properly. Rich Chapili. You feel free to burst out laughing if that's a terrible attempt, but I hope it's okay at your pronunciation, your name. But yeah, we can put the stop up here, up here, up here, up here. You don't have to have too wide a stop. In fact, we might even take the 4 hour. Yeah, we put the 4. Put it above this guy here. See these two guys here? Put it above there. That's only 50 odd pips away. What a pleasure on the 4 hour. See, we get a trade. Oh shit! It's only 60 pips. Can we do something on the daily? Yeah. Pushing it a bit. Ooh, you won't get a risk reward there unless you make a slightly tighter stop. That's my worry. Unless you take it down there, you get it. If you take it down there, you can. But it hasn't been there since 30th of June, which is July, a month and a half, basically. That's to me, I'd like to put my stop right about there, but it's only 50, 60 pips away. That's my problem. You see what I'm saying, Topello? Unless you want to do a hell of an aggressive one. Do you want to risk an aggressive one, guys? What an aggressive one means: very tight stop, tight TP. Short it. Put the TP in here somewhere. Anyway, I'll put that up a little bit further. Yeah, I have to put it about there. It's a bit risky. Where's it on the 4 hour? Oh, no, it's all right. It's still above these two guys in the 4 hour. We might be able to squeeze it. We might just be able to squeeze it. Make it 80.95. Might be able to squeeze it. You have to bring it down just a tad, just a tad more. That's a bit of a squeeze, but it's only 55 rand a micro. So you can get a reasonable volume without putting too much at risk. So that's an aggressive short-term trade. Yeah, hold or do that. The CPI will affect it, but not as much as will a dollar. Remember, it's when I say dollar, I mean those are two dollars as well. I get that. I'm talking about US dollar. But there you are. If you want an aggressive trade, hopefully you might be out, well, I don't know, maybe today, but certainly hope you'll be out by tomorrow. But there you are. There you are.
Roger,
Yep.
the NZD CAD was actually a signal sent out on Monday from the trade room.
Oh, was it?
From the yeah.
Okay.
So basically, your entry price is always very close to what it should be because we went in at a 0.81550.
Oh. Oh, you're quite right. There you are. So it went on. Okay, I beg your pardon. So it did, yeah. Well, there you are, getting a slightly better price. Getting a slightly better price than the signal. So there you are. Thank you for a reminder. Okay, so if anyone wants to take it again, just bear in mind, very aggressive. Okay. Aggressive usually means fairly tight stops. I hope the noise will knock it out. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, it hasn't been there. And on a 4-hour, it's got some defense at these two levels here. So yeah, try that if you like. I'm back in the Canadian and the NZD as well. So if you want to do that, there you are. You can. I think that's not too bad. Close what? Sorry, I don't mean by that, Herman. Okay, you have to be more explicit. Okay, so there we are. Too late. Can I knock this off? I'll actually save just in case you want to refer back to it. I wouldn't be chasing the dollar yen at the moment. I'd be modifying a stop if anyone's still in there because you got a nice big 100 pip profit sitting there. Just wait a second for that to come up. There we are. Okay, so I can knock that off. Yeah. Japanese yen. Now I would no, don't be chasing that now. Certainly wouldn't be selling it. But I wouldn't be buying it now. No, if you're in, great, but I wouldn't be chasing it now, Martin. Definitely not. Especially the dollar's coming off as we speak, as a matter of fact. So leave that alone if you're not in. If you are in, modify the stop and see if you can reach TP. Okay. And if you want to take a little bit off the table, you can. You'll know now. I think I mentioned it had a close part position. I'm not sure we explained to you in the platform training, but you don't have to close the entire one. You can bank some of your trade and let the rest run. So I hope you'll understand how to do that. If you don't, I can quickly explain it to you. It won't take long. It's up to you to ask. If you don't ask, I assume you already know it. Okay. Right. I'm going to go back to AUD CAD. I'm looking at a couple of trade ideas, see what you think. Looking at this one for a sell. As you can see here, it's in the sell zone, obviously. It's the 10-day moving average is holding, and we've got some support resistance, this level here. And every time it's tried to take out this 10-day moving average, the shorter term one, the sellers are coming in. And it's again aggressive, and maybe take it down there if you like, 80 pips. So you'd have to look at something like that as a, something like that as a stop loss, an aggressive trade. That's an opportunity. If you want to be more aggressive, shorter term, tighter stop, tighter TP, just so I don't keep repeating myself. When I say aggressive trade, I mean tight stop, tight TP. Okay. So it makes quick if you know what I mean by that. Okay. Now, how? Now, Badger, Nancy, what do you mean by how? And you need to be forthcoming in the questions. How? How what? And those culture people just not very forthcoming. I mean, let's look at euro dollar. Well, let's look at it. Well, you want to know what you want to do with it. So how? I can't answer that question. What about AUD CAD? Anyone do an aggressive trade on it? Okay. Thought Mr. Rambo would be the first up there. That seems good enough. How far is that away? Yeah, I should do. Take it down to here. 87.20. Very aggressive. This, look at that stop, very, very tight. Maybe put the stop just a little bit. Don't get too much noise, knock it out. If it gets too close, it might just jump up, knock everyone out, and then come off again. Stop grabbing, as they say. 1.7, $65 a shot. Anyone like to look at this one? Did you catch what I said? What I said? I don't care. I want to explain it. Very important, Nancy. I said about what? In what context? I've been saying a lot of things the last few minutes, and you've been brought back on point to the specific topic you mentioned, and I'll try and speak a little bit, hopefully slower, more clearly. The other guys are pretty good at helping me out if I go a bit quick, but it's important, you know, your questions answered. Why did you think of that? Right, there you are. What do you reckon, guys? It's a nice round figure of 88, so hopefully that'll hold as well. Any comments on this one? Sharon's going to try it. Okay. Anyone else? You're going in. A couple of people. So let's get this down then. Nice aggressive one to start the ball rolling. AUD, CAD. Let's just quickly do this. Save that. Okay, 80, call it 88. 88.00, 88.44, and 87.20. And what's that? $65. So call it 65 rand and 110. Okay, good. Let's see how that goes. Right, knock that off. Anyone else wants it? Now I've got it sort of sorted. I've got it written down as well. Good. Another one I looked at, also the AUD, was the AUD JPY. I was looking at that as a possible sell as well. It seems to be holding that area there, as you can see. Can you all clearly see all the cross areas? A few highs there. It seems to be holding. I thought the possibility of downside here. Also, it's a psychological round figure of 94. So possibly that might hold. Let's have a look at the 4 hour. A little bit of technical damage trying, but it seems to be holding. You might want to wait a bit till it comes back down below that guy on the 4 hour. I think now we've got plenty of downside to play with here. Actually got in there. No, we've got plenty of downside. How far is that? Not so much. That's fairly aggressive if you want to take it there. But I think it's a possibility there. Let's have a look at the weekly. Okay, I think might be an idea just to wait till it gets back below that area there, and on the 4 hour below the 54 hour. Just see if we can get some pullbacks. A bit of momentum to the upside at the moment. It may continue. So I think rather wait if you like the sell, maybe a higher price or a breakdown again for the confirmation. That's what I reckon anyway. But some good trades out recently. Let's stick with it. Let's not just jump in out of sheer excitement. Let's be a bit more disciplined and wait for a bit of confirmation. What do you think? Do you like the idea, or do some people think it should be buying it? Feel free to say if you do. You might have a very good reason. We're going to wait on that. Okay. If anyone wants to do it, it'll come back. Leave alone for now. Okay, good stuff. Okay, GBP CHF. I've been trying to chase this for an entry. You might get it. AUD JPY. That's the one we're talking about. That's the one we're talking about now. Okay, so go on from there. GBP CHF. Hello, Matthew. We've already got the one out. It's the aggressive one, AUD CAD. Put it up for you if you like. Just put it on there if you like it. If you just magnify that, and you can see what the risk is per micro. At 65, I think you got a dollar account, if I remember rightly. What's 65? That's about what, $3.50, something like that. That's about $3.50 a micro. Okay, micro is 0.01, by the way, so you can extrapolate that to your risk. Okay, GBP CHF. Well, I think probably pretty clear. I want to sell it. Not much action yesterday, but I think it will get some action. I think some downside on this one. It's a bit tight. Let's see if we can get it up here. Maybe better there. My problem is what we're going to do for the downside here. That's your problem. And yeah, I only want to take it to about there. It's only 96, so let's see if we get that 90. So about 50 will do. Yeah, that's the only problem. Maybe use the 4-hour for a more aggressive trade. Something like that might do it. Fairly aggressive. Down here, excuse me, I'm nattering aloud here. Yeah, maybe take down there. If you want to be very aggressive, even down there, and you can always modify your TP if it starts coming to the party. But I think there's a chance of this one coming right as well. The weekly is holding nicely. How far is the weekly away from there? 70 pips. The only one I can see really is on the 4-hour. It's a short-term aggressive one as well. But I do see downside there. As I've been mentioning for the last week or so, I wouldn't be selling the Swiss franc. So I'd be selling the other currency, buying the Swiss franc, in other words. And I think this is going to give us hopefully some movement. AUD CAD, the one I printed on there, just look at the signal there, Matthew. And it'll tell you whether it's short or long. One way of telling, if the stop loss is above, it's a sell. If the stop loss is below, it must be a buy. But it says on there it's a short or long anyway. Just click on the screen. It should be able to magnify it, and the information's all there. You want to buy it, Chris? You want to sell the Swiss franc? Oh no, sorry. Talk about GBP CHFs. Oh yeah, CHF JPY, different ball game. Beg your pardon. Okay, right, we'll come to that in a moment. I think it's a bit late on that one. I've missed that a couple of times. Wanted to pull back, and the bloody thing didn't before it jumped again. I think it might be a late to join that, but we'll have a look in a moment. Okay, so we'll leave this alone. Do you want me to move on? They'll be keen on it.
I would like a slightly better entry.
Okay,
A little
maybe
bit
round
higher.
about here. Yeah, right about there, 65. Okay, fine. And everyone else there, if it gets to 65, just a quick reminder, it might happen the next hour, hopefully, and then we'll look for a sell and then bring it back to it. I'm afraid I agree with Farley as well. I agree. Okay, good. Thanks. Yeah, a bit more prudent. And what I like about if we get it there, we can get a TP down to this sort of level here, so we can get the stop loss 60. Not quite. At least we can squeeze a stop loss up there and make it work. Okay, I hear you. Or even higher. What a pleasure. Then we'll sell it. Like it. Okay, that's sorted. GBP USD. Okay. You want to buy it? The dollar's coming off as we speak. But I'm going to be honest, Mike. I'm a bit worried about this damn dollar. It's giving me some jip. It's dancing around. It's like gold. It's been kicked around by fundies too much at the moment. So so I take your point technically completely. It's just the dollars is a bit of. We always talk about the maverick being the pound. I think the dollar's a bit bigger maverick at the moment, and that worries me. Anything to do with interest rate increasing by tomorrow is going to strengthen that dollar quite a bit. It's just really on tenterhooks at the moment. It's making me a little bit nervous, that dollar, to be honest. But from a buyer's perspective, I would be probably more comfortable if it took out the 10-day moving average. If it starts taking this guy out here, above that level there, but above 2780, call it, I'd be more comfortable. At the moment, it seems to be holding. I personally, I'm going to stay aside on that one. I'm sort of agree with Peter. I mean, don't completely. If we get a good trade, maybe we can take it. And we can always modify the stops and the profit up to the CPI tomorrow, but I'm wary of it, put it that way. Now, Sharon said moving averages. Again, I need more information. Bollinger Bands, how's that? Or relative strength, apropos what sort of thing? Oh, beg your pardon. Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you. What are these 4 lines? Oh, see what you mean. Zigzagging across the screen like the bloody price action after time, eh? Yeah, if you don't have them, it very strongly suggest you put in the brown one. That's the 200, and the blue one, that's the 50. They're internationally used, very important. I would find it virtually impossible to trade technically without them. That's how important they are. On top of it, I quite like the 100, which is the black line, and the 10, which is the magenta line. I'm not saying day because it happens to be on the daily, but they apply to all of them. If I go to the 1 hour chart, that's the 200 week, 50 week, 10 week, and 100 weeks. So they apply to all charts. Support, resistance, a filter for a buy zone, intermediary zone, or a sell zone. Have them, right click, go to your templates, and then save the template. When it comes up, put your name in there, stick your name in there, and press the save button. So you've got it saved. So if you do lose them, just go to templates, and there the save charts are all there. Very important. Thanks for helping me out there, Sharon. That's great. Very important. Strongly advise that. Okay, we'll just go back at GB. Oh yeah, GB. Any comments there, Mike? So we'll go back one thing at a time there. Got another Mr. Murray coming in to join you finally. There we are. Cooley Murray. There we are. Right. Anyway, I'm going to leave it alone. Mike, what's your opinion? What's Farn's opinion? Pietro, Chris, anybody's opinion? Do you see that's a buy on this one? He's got the stop loss at 26.80 and the TP 29.40. Pietro, I think, mentioned he's going to leave the dollar alone, so I think you've already answered that. What do you think we should agree with Farn as a trade idea? I personally leave it alone, but doesn't mean to say you guys will leave it alone. Gerard's going to leave it.
No, I will leave it as well. I'm a little bit jittery. The pound is not doing what I thought it will as well.
Well, that confirms it. You're getting 2 mavericks together. The pound can be a funny currency, and the dollar really is a bit of a maverick at the moment. I think should. I'm going to suggest you leave that alone, Mike. But Gerard himself has suddenly done stuff, never mind what I've said, and did very well out of it. So I'll leave that in your very capable hands, but if you want to do it. But I'm suggesting an LIA, as Jacob said. Okay. And Edwin. Okay. I think that they're not getting much moral support for that, so you're on your own there, mate. Right. GBP CAD. Did we look at that? No, I don't. We did. Both for a buy. Right. What do you reckon, Farney, Pietro, Chris, Edwin, Mike, Sharon? What do you reckon? Do you think that's a buy, a sell, or what do you think? It's suggested as a buy by Chris. Well, Chris can't comment on that because he made the suggestion. So other than Chris, what do you guys think? A leave it alone, a buy, or a sell? Any particular reason of any of those before I mention anything? I've got my opinion. Remember, I've done this before quite a lot, so I could glean information for a chart almost immediately. That's why I keep it simple, just like me. Buy an EJ. Okay, well, let's EJ and it's only 9 pips on the EJ, yeah. I would be selling it, guys. I know it's a bit high, but doesn't mean to say it's going to come off. It did there in retrospect. We didn't know. It might have thought, hang on, this is a bit high. Let's go back in time. Here we are. This looks a bit high on the 11th of July. Let's go and sell this one. You'd have seen your ass there, mate. No, I wouldn't be selling it, no. But the question is, would I be buying it now? EJ, yep. Buying it other than that, personally, I'd leave it. It's a bit nerve-wracking to buy it. The momentum indicator of what we call the EJ, I'll just quickly explain it. You look at the daily, and if it's above the blue and the brown, never mind the black, the blue and the brown on the daily, you look to buy it. No more fundamentals. The only time you check a fundamental is a half an hour's time and interest rates coming out on the Canadian or the pound. Then you probably leave it. So you check your economic calendar, and then, which I must copy and paste for you in a minute. There's nothing on there for the moment, nothing important on there to worry about. Then you go to the hourly one, and you see if it's above the 10-hour moving average. If it's not, you leave it. Clearly it is. And then the next thing you check is the distance. If it's about 40 pips away, that ship sailed. This is only what? 8 pips away. So from that point of view, you can do it on the EJ, guys. But for a normal trade, I would not be chasing this at the moment. Okay. Okay, well, that's a problem. Yes, sometimes I look at 6, and by the time it comes up discussion at 9, you suddenly get a better price or the ship has sailed. At the moment, I would be leaving alone on the normal one. EJ is a momentum trade, yeah. Okay. As mentioned. Okay, Jacob, fair comment. Probably agree with you on that one, but sure. We'll see. It's got potential upside, no problem. No problem there. It's got plenty of meat on the bones if it takes this guy out, so we'll see. I'm going to wait on that one. I hope you're all happy with that. But the point is, you're seeing where I'm getting this stuff from. I'm not saying when your guys are not there, we got some big secret we look at. No, this is nearly all the trades are my idea anyway. Not the ones that trade them, our idea in the trade, but outside, almost universally mine. And this is the stuff I go through. You can check it out. You put your own indicators on if you like. It might even back it. If it doesn't, leave it. It's your choice. GBP JPY looks to be a bit the same story as the previous one. And I think the Japanese yen is weaker than the Canadian. So if you do want to buy it, probably a better one to buy that one than against the Canadian. But I'm not sure I do it on that one either. Let's look at the hourly for the EJ. 14. It's coming off a bit. You might get a better price for the EJ. Otherwise, I'd leave that alone. Hang on, you got a bit of a stinking question there, Nicky. I don't know. Let's have a look at it. Okay. Any question on that before we go to the NZD CAD? Hope you weren't over. Sometimes people are margin called. They're over, don't have any free margin. They're overexposed, and they get margin called. I hope it's not that. You're good in that, Chris. Fantastic. Okay, we'll move on. NZD CAD. I'm not quite sure. Can you explain why it stopped out? It hit break even. Actually, just I think you're all unmuted. Just explain what you mean there, Nikki, because I'm not quite sure what you go for it.
For example, if you look at the candles, was there, for example, a certain candle, like the indecision candle, that suggested that it was going to bounce back up, that it wasn't going to come back down, or was it like hitting a resistance or support level? So I was just looking for like indicators, things like that.
Oh, I see. I thought you stopped out at break even without modifying the stop loss, and I thought, what the hell's going on here? No.
Oh no, I did hit break even.
Oh God, I was going to say that sounded like a major glitch. Okay, no problem. Okay, no, that's just noise. This is holding. This is holding. The candles are helpful. They're helpful. There's no doubt about it. But a candle on its own ain't going to give you a trade entry. Well, that's not strictly true. On its own, it won't, but it can be as a confirmation. That's the way I'm trying to put it. So you think, is it below that? Looking for a short? Yes. Is the Canadian stronger? Yes. Right. It's down here. Let's say the TP's here. The price is there. Nope. The candle gives you a bit more of a comfort zone to enter it. As you can see, it's the top of that range. Held. You get the idea. Okay. So that down there, it's only 26 pips, a bit quiet. 42 pips, it's a daily. It's a bit quiet. My problem with this one, I'll be honest, it's boring. I mean, thank you, Nick. You get my point.
Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, 6 days. In fact, let's take it from here. That's about 80 pips. In fact, 80 odd so pips in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in 2 weeks. Hey, no. If you like traffic jams, you can do this trade. If you like open roads and wind blowing in your hair, I think it was the Eagles. how it goes, wind blowing in May, you know, anyway, whatever, then I wouldn't be suggesting this one. And your cabriolet stuck in a traffic jam. No, you want to be moving and yeah. So for that reason alone, but no, I certainly wouldn't be buying this one. If you're in it already, hold it. Hold on. It's just noise, but just boring.
Okay,
You might
yeah,
be in there
mine
next
hit-
week.
Okay, mine hit modified stop loss to when it was I put it at a break-even point.
Okay, well, you're out and actually modified. That's fine. If you weren't out, and you maybe it's a spread or something, but that's sorted. Okay,
Okay.
I'm not sure it's done you any harm there, actually, to be honest, because you weren't stopped out. You might still be in, depending on how much money you've got as well. And if you've got limit sums, now you can't trade elsewhere because you haven't got enough free margin. It might have done you a roundabout favor, actually. It's just not happening. I think get out the bloody car in the traffic jam. Do you see that Michael Douglas film? Where he just cracked in the traffic jam, got out, left his car, and walked off. I don't remember that film. It was called. It was quite a strange film. But anyway, bottom line is, it probably hasn't done you a disservice. That probably done you a favor. Leave it alone. Other than that, okay. Yeah, I don't think anybody likes traffic jams. I think I'd rather a mosquito buzzing around in a sodding traffic jam. Downfall, that's the one. Thank you. Downfall, that's right. Yeah. He just gets out the car. He's just had it. Bloody great. It's about a 5-lane traffic jam in the States. Just gets out and leaves it there. I bet we've all felt that. Anyway, leave it alone. Okay, moving along. ZDJPA. Yeah, I've discussed the trade ideas. We got an AUD CAD, AUD JPY, GBP CHF. We've got an eye on. We're waiting for that to get a better price. And the NZD JPY, even though we've got to try out for a buy, I think that's going to cause problems. I'm seeing downside. Okay, so let's just quick check to see how AUD CAD is pretty quiet at the moment. Just because it's a holiday here, by the way, it's nothing to do with overseas. So don't know why it's quiet there. That's why having a trading room, because, you know, CAD CHF, that's about break even at the moment. So give that a chance. I didn't just got into it. Give the trade a chance, remember. Let that go for a while. AUD, no, what am I talking about? Sorry. What was it? CAD CHF, beg your pardon. CAD CHF. Right. What do you want to do with this in Cooley, if that's pronounced properly? In Cooley, what do you want to do with this one? About bloody time, Nikki, hey. Not sure it's a Miss or Mrs. Lau, so I stick to Nikki. But yeah, it's about bloody time. You are getting worried. Oh, ye of so little faith. I think, wasn't it you WhatsApped me yesterday and said, hang on in there? Or somebody did anyway, hang on in there. It was you, okay. And it held actually right on the support level as well. Remember I mentioned should get a bounce around about the 90 mark. And it got 88 and then it bounced. Okay, CAD CHF. Go back to this one. Okay, yeah, you look, you might get some upside. Okay, now my worry is when it's very high or very low, it could be overvalued and undervalued. I get that completely, but that is not alone saying it's a bit low, it must go up, a bit high, it must come down. Not necessarily. Can do, but not necessarily. Now, for me personally, I would not be selling the Swiss franc. I would not be doing it. I'd rather be buying it. So in this, I don't know if the size of the jump. We had a bit of a jump yesterday, but how long did it last? Got down here, 40 pips. Okay, then the sellers came in again. You get my point. It's not enough meat on the bones to take the almighty risk, because the reason why they're bouncing, I mentioned this before, in my opinion, not certain, but the likelihood of the price action, I'm probably right, is short covering. In other words, people taking profit. Remember, when you take profit on a short, you're buying to exit. Okay, so if you're in that short and you want to exit, you've got to buy to exit. And if enough people buy it, you get a bit of a jump. But the extent of that jump is just to clear out the shorts is not that much. To buy for a 40 pip TP, which might not even occur in a very strong downward trend, I'm not sure that's what I would suggest a very good trading idea. I would be looking to short it. The problem is it hasn't broken through that floor yet. It's not a glass floor, it's a fairly strong concrete floor as we speak. So the only thing I would be doing on this one is shorting the rally. So as finally mentioned just now about the GBP CHF, I would go along with him on this one as well as wait for a better price to sell it rather than getting too cute to buy the expected bounce because we don't know the extent of that bounce. Hope that makes sense. Are we all good on that one? Anything you're not sure of what I said there? It is very important you understand these sort of things. That's why I'm pushing a little bit because I see that a hell of a lot. You look at something they've sold. Why are they selling that? Oh, because it's a bit high. Or why they're buying that? Oh, it's a bit low. That's not enough strategy. Okay. See a double top where? Up here. Yeah, it's a fair whack away. If it goes back up there, I'd be quite to sell it down. But I'm not. What makes it it's going to get there? We won't count today. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 days, and it might not get there. I'd rather sell the rally. Anybody disagree? Anybody thinks a buy here? Or even a seller coming with that? I want you guys all to start thinking of these things. And then the quicker we discuss these and offer opinions, the quicker it'll all fall into place. Because already, guys, you can see it's, look, Nicky, good example, Nicky. It's not quite as massively complicated as at first you thought when you first started, hey? And Chris hadn't been doing that long either. And you see what I mean? This is not rocket science, far from it. If you want to go and study something, study the psychology of your head, because that's usually the biggest enemy we've got. That's right, exactly. As I said at golf the other day, how good these pro golfers were. You see, they are the slight difference. They hit nearly 500,000 balls a year, bit more than I hit. Yeah. Very much so, Neo. Very much so. Sell the rally. Are we agreed on that? Let's say it's repetition. So, okay. I'm prepared to bet most people, the first 6 months to a year of trading, most of the losses occur usually because of head problems rather than actually brain problems, if you know what I mean. Emotional problems rather than logical knowledge problems. Can't overemphasize. It's like most things in life, discipline. I know, because I'm not the world's most disciplined. Took me dragging and screaming to get the hang of that, tell you. That's a brilliant comment you just made there. Oh, I like it. Yes, it's very difficult to learn how to lose money, yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, I think the best way to do is this. When you go into a trade, and you got your stop loss on the signal or wherever it is, you worked out your position, and let's say you're risking 500 Rand, for argument's sake. What I try and do, and I say, I've just lost 500 Rand. I write it off to my head. Most things in life are about playing tricks with your head. You write it off. So in the end, the worst thing that can happen if it's your stop loss is you lost 500 Rand. That's the worst. When you've already said, I've written it off. And then it goes a little bit in your direction. Maybe you modify your stop to 300 Rand risk. Well, by definition, then you're 200 Rand to the good because you've written off the 500 and that's only 300 risk. Little tricks of the trade to play around with that. Get your head right. And like I've got it down there, don't stare at the bloody thing all the time. I don't know how they're doing. I'm only in a couple of the moment. I haven't joined anything else. I'm too busy talking here, actually. Where is it now? It's sort of come to the party a bit slow. What's the other EURCH, I think? It's come off a bit. It was about 1,000 Rand earlier on. It's come off a bit, but I got the stop. Where's my stop? 20. I make about a 4 pip loss. This one I haven't touched the stop. It's too early. But the bottom line is, it's just don't stare at the thing all the time. You got your. I've written those two off. They hit stop loss, and one of them already. I'm not going to really lose on it. The other one I will. You know, it's just the way to do it. Yeah. And it's just like, because you tend to blame yourself. You know what I mean? I left my wife because she kept beating me up. Well, but I blame myself. Well, how's it my fault she kept beating me up? rather ridiculous scenario because my ex-wife's about 5'3". She didn't say much about me, but I'm just trying to use an example. We tend to blame ourselves. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's not a bad idea, guys. Try and say, I'm going in. Before you hit that button, say to yourself, I'm write that off. Can I handle that mentally? Chat to yourself and don't lie to yourself. Okay. Can I handle it mentally? Yeah. So that's the worst scenario. And if it starts going your right way, you might not put your stop to even. Stephen might reduce it, so you're reducing the risk. And if you're risking 500 and now it's only risking 300, in a way, you made a 200 rand profit if you like to look at it that way. Might get your head round more because that without doubt is the worst. It's the head damage we do. Okay. Okay. Well, right. Yeah, hope you all got that. Work on that side of it, but we're leaving that alone. Okay. It's just the tricks of trade I've used myself. Don't stare at the bloody thing and write it off. So those two trades now, I wrote off whatever, I can't remember what I risked on them, but probably around about the 2 grand or something. But one just about break even. So out of the two, I've already made 2 grand if I get stopped out. You know what I mean? If you get my thinking. Okay. Well, there's no doubt about it. Absolutely no doubt about it, Gerard. That is why the guy goes in with a lot of money into a gambling scenario usually does better than the guy who's little, because the guy who's little is usually the desperate one. The guy with a lot shrugs the shoulders. 50 grand, you lose 1,000 rand, you're irritated. A poor guy on 1,000 rand, he struggled, he scrimped, he saved that money. Remember, he might be on 10 grand a month, but he's got bills to pay. And he might have scrimped for a couple of months, putting that 1,000 rand together and lose 100 rand. That's 10% of it took 2 months, and that's nailing the head. So absolutely, yes, quite right. In fact, unfortunately, everything seems to be against the poor, doesn't it? Yeah, don't stare at the minute. I can't see the purpose of the minute chart really, unless you just want to see how much the NAS has moved after a fundamental or opening or some of that's come out. And you see it in the last 3 minutes it's moved something like that. Otherwise, I don't really bother with it. And if you leave on the minute, forget, and you come back, and you're going short, you see a bloody great red line down here, you get very excited. You realize on the minute, it's about 5 pips. Severely disappointed. You could do that as well. You just go on the CHF JPY, you got it at 160, hit your TP at 163.50. You made a nice bit of a profit there. You're playing with a bit of winning money. You might think, I can afford to be a little more slack on this one, my discipline. Instead of risking 10, I might risk 15. Fair enough. And sometimes you can double up. This is how you double up. You buy at 160. Once you're at 162, and you've, let's say at 161, and you've modified your stop to 160, you can't lose in that trade. So it's still going up. You might want to enter another one. Now you're not risking, let's say your risk is leveled at 1,000 rand. You're not risking 2 grand. You're only risking a grand because the other trade you're in is actually break even. It gets stopped out. So you can actually double up that way with the same risk as the original one. Are you following me on the maths there? These little tricks to trade, you've got to start understanding. There will be, quite right, Pietro. Nothing to do with Women's Day, by the way. It's to do with they are going to be a bit quiet going in tomorrow. The CPI, I'm willing to tell you now, is more important than the jobs report. This CPI is critical to the Fed's decision on interest rates going forward. It's critical. For that reason. We'll have a look at the EuroCAD in a moment. But before I do that, the indices leave alone at the moment. Now, let's just quickly show what I mean by it. Let's start off with the Dow. Right, it's a bit of a range trade between these levels here. It bounced up to that. If you want to trade the range, as long as you get a decent wide stop, don't try less than about 250 on the Dow and 200 on the NAS. Do not get a tighter stop. It's too volatile for a tight 50, 60, 100 pip stop. So if you get a risk reward with a couple hundred or 250 on the Dow, fair enough. If I haven't been, I guess that's not quite true. I did buy the Dow. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I did buy it, and I made a reasonable profit. Got around about there. I can't remember. I just purely a range trade. There was just enough meat on the bones for me to do a range trade, so I did it. But that's all. A range trade at the moment, and it probably quietened down because this will be affected by the CPI. It might take off or might come down. So that's the reason I left it alone. But I did do one. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Or the day before. Okay. No, I don't. Russia's got the biggest country in the world's got a shame, poor Russian. It's got a GDP, gross domestic product, about the size of Holland. If you put your finger on the chart of the map of Holland, you can't see Holland. So there's a slight difference in size. No. The only thing you worry about Russia is the fact they got a bit of a despot in charge who's got at his fingertips large amounts of oil, large amounts of resources. They don't really produce much, say AK-47s, and a large military. Okay. No, not really, no. Because it was a bouncy one, so I thought I was a bit nervous. So I thought, yeah, that's the reason. Bit aggressive to chuck out there. That's the reason, Chris. I could mention trading one, but I wouldn't send out to everybody else out there. Okay. But do I trade other stuff? What do you mean about other stuff? What other stuff is to trade? We got indices, commodities. I trade the stuff on here. I don't trade stuff that's not on here. I don't have an account where I've got, let's say, Bitcoin or what's called cryptocurrencies, or the DXY is a tradable instrument, or what's the other one? The forget the name of it now. The VIX, volatility index. They're tradable instruments, but they don't have it on here. So only trade we got on here. What you see is what you get, Gerard. I'm about as subtle as a kick in the shin. Yeah, Nick, you'd be amused at that. I've told this before to Farney and Company many years ago, and lived in Cape Town. Had a girlfriend at the time, actually fiance, interesting enough. And she used to call me a loudmouth, bombastic pom. Not very nice, but I thought it was quite amusing. It was my expense. So I'm a loudmouth, but at least what you see is what you get. And the other one finally really liked was a friend of mine once said, because I asked him, how did you know that? And he turned around and says, because I listened, Roger, you should try it sometime. You know, that shut me up.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I was born talking, Farney. Right, to come back to the business and Cooley, I use the daily, sometimes the 4 and sometimes the week. I don't use the monthly or the hourly or that. I look at them, but I don't use a base of trade on it. Okay, so I would say about 60, 70%, say maybe 70% of the time, the daily, the other 30%, probably about 24-hour, and the other 10% weekly. Yeah, big wuss. Yeah, you're right there, Herman. Hope that answers your question, and Nick Cooley. Good, got it. Good stuff. If you weren't sure, go into it again. All right, but then you go back to the indices. That's the reason. CHFJPY, I wouldn't be chasing it now. I've missed this a couple of times. I wanted to get it, but and I thought just wait for a better price, and the damn thing didn't retrace enough and took off again. Again, I'm going to wait on this one. Where can I get in? I'm a bit nervous to even get in there. Actually, I'd like to get in around about that level there, about 162, if I can get it. But we'll check it out if it gets there. Right, on that subject, go on.
Roger, sorry, just one question. For tomorrow's CPI, do you suggest we bring all our stop losses to the break-even point?
too difficult to see what jump we're going to get. Remember, look what happened on the whiplash effect on the jobs
Yeah.
report. To what's going to happen after release, I have absolutely no idea, to be honest. I'm not even going to speculate on it. I haven't got a cooking clue. And even if I was right, said it's going to be slightly higher, how the institutions are going to react to that and to the extent to which they react to it, I haven't got a clue. They probably don't know themselves either. Even Powell doesn't know that. I would suggest when we do it, what we're going to do again. I forgot what we're going to do. I think we'll do the euro dollars to suggest it. Okay, you do what you like, guys, but I think I'll be using the euro dollar this time. If it jumps reasonably, I don't want to be moving the stop up to break even after it's just jumped up maybe 20 pips. If it sometimes takes a bit of time for the markets to filter in. And suddenly by 3-4 hours later, you stopped out and the thing has now decided to march in that direction. So keep an eye on the dollar index. It's sometimes a bit slow to react. And then maybe 15-20 minutes later, you start seeing the dollar fall off or go up. That'll give you confirmation to hold with the trade you got without getting too tight a stop. So to be honest, that's the situation. It's not hard and fast rules. It's a bit playing it by ear. Think a bit on your feet. But I'll be hanging around anyway for about half an hour afterwards, just to sort of see it settle down a bit so we can adjust accordingly. Okay. The big dread, of course, it comes out exactly as expected. It's done that before. That's annoying. We want a differential from the actual and the expected. We want a differential. Probably with the world's economy reasons, probably lower than expected. But for selfish reasons, I don't care one way or the other, as long as it's a big differential and you get a decent movement. Let's hope it's a sodding, enormous, great, big, bloody nuclear banger. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah. So this one, I think I do know. I'm leaving alone. Anybody thinks worth chasing at this level? I'd be very, very advise you not to sell it. If you want to buy it, fair enough. I'm not going to. But I wouldn't be selling it. I'd be buying a pullback. Yeah. Okay. Leave it alone. Yeah. Okay. We're all good on that one. Good. Happy with that. Thanks for the interaction. That's what I want. Yeah, agreed. Gives me moral support as well. I've got my doubts on this one. It helps me as well. Okay, right. Going back to everybody know how to cut their position. All right, I'll refrain. Most of you will do. Excuse me, take a few minutes on this. Anybody does not know how to cut the position. Example, if you've got more than one micro and you only close the entire trade, you only want to partially close the trade. Does anybody there not know how to do it? And I'm going to take 2 seconds to show you, but I'm going to show you if you already know. Wait, it's boring. Okay, right. I'll show you. It's very simple. Okay, you go to your chart there and you pick the one you want to close. Bit quiet at the moment. This one's pulling. What's the euro jumping a little bit? Anyway, we'll see what happens anyway. So let's assume, let's highlight you want to partially close. Let's pretend I'm going to partially close the CAD JPY. I'm clear. I'm not going to. I'm just show you how to do it. You got to see how much you got. I've got there 0.15. That's 1.5 minis or 15 micros. Let's stick to the word micros. I've got 15 micros there. Let's say I decide I want to bank 8 or bank 7, bank 5, bank 10. I've done that before. That might bank 5 and then might bank another 5 until I'm eventually stopped out. You get the idea. So this case, actually, no, I'm going to bank 5. What the hell? I've decided for whatever reason, I'm going to bank 5 and let the rest run. So clearly you don't double click on the stop loss or TP. That's going to modify. You click an area, which any area on that, which is not these two. This one didn't really matter. But let's make it simple for you. Let's make it the volume. So we're all simple on that one. Okay? So you double click, go to the volume box and double click on it. All right. And a box comes up. Then you put the volume on a bank. Let's pretend I'm going to bank 5 micros. So put in 0.05. All right. Then I just click on the close button. You got that? That will then, if I do that, I'll change to 10. And obviously that will be reduced by a third. What's that? About 120 rand. So that'll go back to about 240, 250 rand. And that'll reduce to 0.1. And the 2 odd and the 120 rand or whatever it is will be banked. Are we good with that? If not, do it again. Are we all good with that? We'll look at your NZD in a moment, Herman, with pleasure. You got it, Sharon. Anybody not got that? Dante, you got that? All good, fine. So simple as that. See, no rocket science there either. The head is the rocket science, and this, the motions are. Your NZD. Right, let's do. A lot of people say we don't do enough strategy talk. Let's do a strategy on this one. We're going to do it on the daily, right? So you check daily. Yep, that's fine. Then you're going to look, is it above the 200 and above the 50? Obviously, yes. In fact, it's above all of them. So where are we now? We're in the buy zone, the intermediary zone, the sell zone. Don't ask. It should be blatantly obvious. I want to get to the stage where it's in your face obvious. That's the best way of trading, because if you see it and it's obvious, everybody else is going to see it. Okay. So immediately that tells me, buy. Don't be saying, what are you buying it, right? Then I look at this one here, Euro NZD. Yep, the Euro's okay. NZD's pretty weak. If that was up there, I'd be surprised that was Euro Swiss franc. I'd be a bit nervous. But no, I'm not too. I'm buying the Euro against the NZD. I have no problem with that. Right, now, the next thing we'll look is an entry. So I look at the candle. It's 10.5 hours old. You see the time? 10.5 hours old. What's that tell me? As it goes up, the sellers come in. As it goes down, the buyers come in. You can call it doji if you like. I'm going to use English here. It's bloody indecisive. As we all know, the worst thing you can be was indecisive. Come on, ladies. You go out with a guy, he might be a nice guy, but he's incredibly indecisive. You're going to get irritated with the guy, right? Same vice versa, I suppose. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that's indecisive. So let's look at yesterday's candle. I'm explaining all, but I'll see it immediately. You know, you should be able to see it after a while immediately. Indecision. It doesn't know when any legs or follow through to go up, and it doesn't see any follow through to pull back much either. So to me, that is telling me, leave it alone. Squat happening there. That is, okay, I'm going to use this. That's traffic jam territory. We're going to get some jargon in this trade room. Cluck, cluck, chicken, LIA for leave it alone, and traffic jam territory. So the non-trade room guys won't understand the jargon, eh? So to me, that's traffic jam territory. Do you see him coming? Do you see what I'm saying, Sharon and Pietro? And he makes a bit of fun as well. And it takes this ridiculous mystique that guys like to show off by using multi-syllabic words, makes them sound clever, but does it really learn from it? It's just simple as that. It's just too much indecision. It's like getting in the car, switching on the engine, and then just sitting in it. Yeah, burning a bit of petrol, not going anywhere. Our own secret language, exactly. That's all that's what I take from there. So I look at that and say, buy zone, very high, no follow through, leave it alone. Go on to the next one. Practice, you know? And it's don't have to delve into 40 different indicators to tell me that. And they come up with the same thing half an hour later anyway. Not knocking them. If you got specific indicators like Pietro and that, use them with pleasure. Short-term exponential moving average crossing, a simple one, no problem. But the overall picture, you can develop on it. But the overall picture is about the floor and the ceiling. Okay, sorry to bore you finally, you've heard it before. It's like you're driving on the road and you've got your 10-year-old sitting beside you and you see a bloody great enormous pothole in the road. Well, if you can see it, your 10-year-old son can see it. And if your 10-year-old can see it, as long as he's big enough to look above the dashboard, he's going to say, stop, daddy or mummy, whoever's driving. It's obvious, it's in your face. That's going to be a powerful indicator. Tiny little potholes and a dark night, you often get a miss. So they're paths of at least much smaller resistances. They're not as effective because they can easily not be seen. That high there is in your face. You can't miss it. That to me will be powerful because of that reason. Everyone can see it immediately. The more obvious it is, the more powerful it is. Very few people are going to miss it. That little bit of support resistance there, some might miss it, so it's not going to have that much effect. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Okay, all good. Any questions? Yeah, I got one. Yeah, Nikki, I'm putting you on the floor now. Yeah, I want Fani. do me a favor finally. Pick an instrument, and I want Nikki to unmute. She's only been doing this about a month. No pressure, Nikki. Just show you what you learned. So finally, picks the instrument, and you come and I'll swip over, and you tell me what you think. Are you happy with that, guys? They're brave people, and then we can all learn. You're cool, that Nikki. Right, finally, pick an instrument, please.
Yes, sir. Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's do Euro CHF.
Euro CHF. Right. Right, Nikki, you're unmuted. The floor is yours. You're not in this trade, by the way. You're not in at all. It's just come up front there. You can analyze whether it's worth leaving alone, joining it or not joining it, or buying or selling or whatever. The floor is yours.
Okay, firstly, I would look at the fundamentals if there's anything on the
Well
franc
spotted. Well bloody
euro.
spotted. Sure, thanks for reminding me. Sorry, Nikki, just give me a second. But thank you for reminding me of that. I'm just copying the fundamentals down for you guys, because some guys won't have that. I'm just giving it to you now. Just give me a moment. Thanks very much. Okay, give me a moment. Yep. Just going to do the dollar index as well. If you haven't got these two, very important. Okay. And remind me after I put my name down in case you haven't got it as well. Yeah, make sure you got the quite right. 100% spot on. I put that down twice. So I'll put that down twice. Sorry, my mistake. Beg your pardon. Spot on. Right. First, you check the economic calendar. Make sure nothing coming up around the corner on the Swiss or the Euro that's going to stuff the system up, as I call it. Okay. Right. There is nothing. Okay. There's nothing there, Nikki. Carry on.
Okay, so then the charts are below the 50 and the 200 moving average. So it means it's in the sell zone.
Yep.
So then that's 1 point for sell. And then you would also zoom in. I think you'd look at the daily and the 4 hour, and then you'd see if the current candlestick are at, I think, any support and resistance.
Yep.
Okay, this part I still struggle with.
Okay, we'll cover that in a minute. Carry on, doing fine. Go on.
Okay, so then you do that support resistance thingy. And then I think you'd look at how far the pips are to the highest level or the lowest level, if there's enough meat on the bones or something.
That's correct. Well, that's just my expression. Be the bones. Use any you like.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Is it worth it, basically? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then I think the last one is that you look if there's like an indecision candle or like a normal candle.
Yeah. Is it doing anything? Is it? We don't be stuck in another sodding traffic jam. Is there anything happening on the damn thing? Are we getting any bloody movement? Nobody wants their money stuck in a trade for the next 6 weeks going nowhere, knocking up swap fees, and they can't trade because they haven't got enough free margin. They're stuck in a trade. So you want some action, basically. Absolutely spot on. All right, let's go back on the daily on that one, and we can repeat. Clear in the sell zone, and I don't think personally it's undervalued. Overvalued. Sorry, I don't think the Swiss franc at this stage is overvalued. So I would still be selling it. Absolutely. It's a little bit of a hiccup on the 10-day, but that's not as important as these two guys here. These two guys are the most important, and the black one's second, and this is the third. Okay. If you like a 20, the shorter terms are less important than the longer terms. Okay. Right. It's tried to break through resistance, and it's failed. For how long now? It's failed from, we'll go this guy here. So go back to here. That's the 25th of July. What's the date today? The 9th. That's the last 16 days. All right, a couple of weekends in there, but you know what I mean? Say a couple of weeks. Okay, it's failed. Right. Now, if we're going to short it from here, we're going to put it above this guy. It's only 50 pips away. What a pleasure. Maybe a little bit higher up, I don't know, but above this guy anyway. Okay? And then where do you aim? You could look at the weekly, but we don't want to get too cute. So aim down there. Is there enough meat on the bones to short it here? Might have to look at the weekly if you want to short it, because we maybe have to take it down here. Yeah, we'd have to take it down there to short it on the weekly, which is quite possible. So if you've got a 50 pip stop, you'll still get a risk reward. You could short it there. Now we're going to go to the 4 hour. Any problems there? It's having a rally. I get that, but I think that's just a profit taking bit of noise. Up and down, you're always going to get that. Right. It looks a bit horrible. You're seeing red on the screen. You think fundamental what's going on. Most of the time, just bloody noise. That's noise. It's shot up. All right. It's not done much technical damage. See, it's not the entire candle is not above this guy here. It's half and half. So it's just a bit of noise. And on the 4 hour, you can see again, going back here, there's a bit of resistance here. So from that point of view, I would say join this at market. We're already in it. We're already going to trade out on it as we're talking about at the moment. I think that's one of the reasons why he picked it, because he's probably in himself. He wants a bit of a backup. Being a bit sneaky there, Mr. Murray, but I like it.
I had to revisit it. Thanks. Nikki, well done.
Well done, Nikki. So there we are. So if you're in it, hold it. If you're not in it, you can sell it. There you are.
Just to confirm. So, you know, when you went, you actually looked at, because this part I always struggle with. So you saw the current candle and it was at resistance quite a few times for the past like few weeks, actually. And then it kind of gives you a signal where that might go up or the probability of might going down. Is that right?
That's correct. I was trying to bring a bit of humor and boy-girl race into it. You're a girl, so I'm going to talk to the boys' side. You've been going out with this guy for 2 or 3 years, and you feel I'm going to break up with him because it just I'm like knocking your head against a brick wall. I'm trying to get through to him, and it's not occurring. So I'm going to sell short the guy and move on. He's tried his break his head against a brick wall all the time. It's not getting anywhere. I'm pulling out of this, selling it down, trying to make a bit of humor out of it.
Oh, okay, I get you. Okay.
Yeah. Bang his head on the ceiling. If the head is getting cracked and beaten about and headaches, but the ceiling's not cracking, give up and pull away from that ceiling.
Roger, can I ask something quick? Sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say to Pello, it's all very well to talk, but get some bloody calculator out. You sound like the chairman of the board of the Quick Trade. Stop bloody talking, Roger, and get the calculator out. Absolutely, Pello, here it is. Go on, you're saying?
Yeah, so for example, we are going to be doing Euro USD tomorrow for the straddle trade for CPI.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are currently in a short trade in Euro CHF. Let's say tomorrow the dollar does strengthen. That'll be great for us because the Euro USD will go down. The Euro will go down on that as well as the current trade we're in. But if the dollar weakens,
good point. But not necessarily.
If the dollar weakens, will it not shoot the euro up and then it'll kick us out of Euro CHF? So
not necessarily. No.
Okay.
No. It's about the dollar. The euro is the passive one. It's about
so
the dollar.
Euro CHF won't have a massive effect because
it'll have some, but it won't be massive. No, it's
just on things that are with the dollar. Okay,
that's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. The euro is the passive one. The dollar is the one that's performing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And you'll sometimes see me get a trade idea out with buying the euro one trade and selling the euro on another one.
Yes.
About going long on the euro dollar because the dollar is massively weak, but the Swiss franc is massively strong. So I would then sell the euro switch CHF and buy the euro dollar. You get my point. Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, Tapello. Stop talking, Roger. You're quite right. Get on with it. 95.22. Might have to use the weekly. We'll try it anyway. Yeah, you can do it on that. Do it on that basis. There you are. $100 a micro. Anyone like to do this? If the guy is in, well, don't double up for goodness sake. But if you're not in, here's a chance. Okay, I'll just give you a second there where these guys want to do this. I'm just going to save it just in case to refer back to if I knock the thing off and they hadn't quite taken it down. So I'm just going to save it quickly. Give the guy a couple of moments to do the trade, work out the volumes. If it's not moving quickly, give it a little tip, guys. If the thing's moving quickly and you don't want to miss out, you work your volumes out, hit the buy and the sell button, you're in. Then afterwards, you can go to modify and put your stop loss and TP in afterwards. You don't want to be faffing around putting the SL and TP in with the thing's moving. You know, you're short and it's moving, By the time you get SLTP in, you put the sell button, it's down to 95.90 and you missed out. So if you think it's moving quick and you worked out your volumes, get into the trade, put the SLTP in, as long as you don't forget. Okay. All right, move on. What I think the dollar for CPI, yeah, we chatted about it, Neo, and I don't mind doing the dollar AUD, dollar NZD. I won't be the Canadian or the Swiss franc. It'll be the AUD, NZD, yen, or the euro. And I put a bit of vote in the trade room, so I'll be doing the euro dollar in the trading session, in the CPI session tomorrow. If you prefer to do the AUD, Japanese yen, or whatever, that's entirely up to you. The principle is exactly the same. And some guys are top concept pianists and very quick with their fingers, might even do two. They might do a euro dollar and the US dollar JPY. You know what I mean? Don't forget, it'll go in opposite direction. Don't panic on that, because one's a base, dollar's a base currency or the secondary, depending. But we're going to do the euro dollar. I'm going to do it for the new guys, but you do what you like I said. If you prefer the yen, go for it. But as I say, if you do the euro dollar and the Japanese yen, don't forget, they will go in opposite direction. Okay, I hope that's all good. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, please ask. Right, if you think of anything to ask before we close up, just going to quickly check, see if anything's happening on AUD, CAD. Just having a put up the moment. I mean, I was over $1,000 up. What am I up at the moment? I think I'm still up. So I'm not looking at only $300 up. I was over $1,000 this morning. So up and down, let the thing run. Okay. Right. Oh yeah, AUD, CAD. Let's quick check of that, see how it's going. We got a sell in at 88 on the dot. Oh, it's all go here. This is a traffic jam a note. God, it's all bloody go. This isn't it. Huh. Anyway, we'll give it a shot. This is quiet. I think it's more CPI. I'm guessing. I know it's very quiet this morning. Maybe they're all celebrating like us, Women's Day, and all knocked off. Yeah. So there we are. Any question before we close up? Are you all good? Hope you all learned stuff. I think I'm going to go on with this practicing trades. Might put Peter on the spot next time. Anyone who's confident enough to unmute and speak, I can do that. Nick is fairly confident. We know Fani is, Gerard is, and Pietro is. But nice to get some other guys to give them a chance to get some confidence to air their views. Martin's done it. You know, Chris has done it. They can say, "This is what I've learned," and they might have missed something, and you don't know you missed it till you utter it, and then we can say, but ba ba ba, and that's how we learn. We're not here to catch you, in other words, we're here to teach, learn. You, Sharon, you'll still be learning in a few months' time. Trust me. Trust me. Ongoing.
Same here after a couple of months. Rog, anything on shares when the market?
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. I forgot about shares. Let's quickly start off with Disney. Anything happening on Disney?
I got knocked out on my race.
Disney,
because
I
was a
I'm
bit
out of
afraid
that.
on the results that
Well,
they
yeah,
announced.
No, totally agree. Totally agree. Same myself. I cut it to 30, then I cut it to 20. I left it at 20, and I reduced my stop loss to 87. I think yours as well, Nicky. I had my stop at 87, so I was out some at 86 something or other, and the rest was out at 87. So I'm happy with that. Took my profit, and looks like there was range trading on the Dow and the Nas, and so it looks like it could be a bit of a bounce coming up, which in turn did occur. So I was out of those two. Now it's looking set up for maybe another possible downside. Okay, so Disney, we can have well, I won't be on this afternoon, but you can have a look at Disney if you like. Most of the guys on leave today. I'm going to probably shoot off after this one, so we won't get anything sent out, to be honest. But if you're confident enough, you can look at the opening. If you can get it in the region near 89 on opening, near the 50-day moving average, give yourself a stop loss, give yourself a TP. Don't forget, if you're going to work it out, use not this position size calculator. Don't forget, use the Excel spreadsheet one. But it's quite simple. If you're getting in at 90 and the stop loss is at 92.50, That's $2.50 difference. That's your risk per share. All right, slightly more than that with the comp. It's not that much. So work at a ballpark figure is the difference between a stop loss in dollars, your risk. So if you're getting at 19, a stop loss at 93, it's $3 a share. Obviously, you can put that into a round if you've got a round account. Simple, simple, simple. Fantastic, Pietro. Thanks for that.
So you're looking at Disney for a sell.
I'm looking for a sell. I'm looking at Tesla for a potential buy.
Tesla bit me hard.
Did it? All right. Well, maybe leave it alone. But I'm looking for a potential buy. Potential being operative word. A bit of technical damage here. I was looking for the buy there. We decided not to send it out. Looked in retrospect just as bloody well because I thought there was going to be a buy up here. Didn't get when we chatted about it in the morning meeting, not our own morning meeting. Before I looked at it, I want to have total 100% agreement. I don't want someone having doubts. That's not good enough. I want 3 out of 3. You know what I mean? So bottom line, I think it's a potential buy, but it's not happening. So leave it. Okay. Go on. Sorry, funny. You're saying?
But that was a fundy due to the CFO leaving Tesla. So I think that's going to change by early next week or maybe on Friday. That's my feeling. It's just reaction of the market.
Good point. Good point. I would say it's more the feeling. I'm almost certain you're correct. Yeah, I totally agree for that. Sorry about that. When a fundamental kicks in, it's annoying, Pietro. I know it hurts, but it's not your fault. That's out of your control. A bomb drops off from the Union building. What's going to happen to Rand? And you were long. You were long the Rand, and the Rand's obviously going to weaken. Or suddenly decides to fire. What can I get? Enoch. He decides to. I've tried. I can't get Godwandling. Anyway, it's Enoch. If he fires Enoch and puts in somebody who's basically like Zuma did, who's basically what you call it, a puppet, that will weaken the Rand. That's not your fault. Okay. Right. So Disney, I look for short. Anything on the oil companies? This could be a possible buy. I'm still bullish on oil. This could be a possible buy if it opens down here. If you get enough meat on the bones, meat on the bones, sorry. You can look at maybe a couple of oil companies, like Oxy. What's the other one? I forget the name of it now. Oh, it's not up there anyway. What else? I think Apple might start to look to recover. Exxon, thank you. Exxon. Let's put it up. What about that? It's quite right. Exxon. XOM, that's right. That's the one. It's better. Yeah, that one you could look at. Any chance of any recovery after the bad news on Apple? Yeah, it's come down, hit there. Look at these work. Even the bad news come in. See how the technicals work? Tracks the buyers in. No more, no less. The buyers are tracked in and push the price up. Even, if everyone started buy Apple and they lost money, it'll still go up because the money pushes it in that direction. Just come down support. Seems to be holding. That's one you could look at for maybe a move back up again. Okay. You can't trade Baba at the moment because there's been talk it might be a share split. So leave that one alone. We can't anyway. You can only close it. Amazon, that news has already been out. Retracing, leave it alone. That was good news coming out. Have a look at those two. If you think of anything else, you can mention it. But look at those two. Okay, guys. It's a bewitching hour. I will be taking my phone with me, but I might be hitting a golf ball later on. So obviously I'll have it silenced when I'm doing that. But if I do see something or you do question, if I'm not on time to answer it a little bit later, well, so be it. Okay.
Please just remember to do stretches before you start eating balls, old man. Have a good day. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much. Good point. Warm up, in other words. Yep. Don't want to have back pain. Yep. Yep. Quite right. Well, you laugh, but look what happened to poor old Tiger Woods. He's bedridden for a while with that stretched back. Not that I play like he does.
Don't sell yourself short, sir.
Yeah, no, I don't have to be in all modesty. I don't play as well as Tiger Woods. I don't. In fact, I told you that one. They call me Tiger, by the way, when I play golf. The reason is because I'm always in the woods. No, but I'd occasionally hit a decent one. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, have a great rest of the day, ladies. Enjoy your Woman's Day, and get the guy to pamp you nicely, and then catch you tomorrow. And remember, 2 session tomorrow morning and CPI.
Thank you
stuff.
all. Appreciate
Cheers.
it. Thanks a
Cheers,
million.
Pleasure. Bye.